1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost a weekend and you don't know what to do. Or you just need something fun to listen to.
Southside Pod!
Yes, we're on the air.
Pod.
And the gang's all here, all things on the South Side. We're listening to the Southside Pod. Looking for the best Southside breweries. Or you might just need an awesome place to eat.
Southside Pod!
Mount Greenwood, Evergreen,
Southside Pod.
Blue Island, Beverly. Pay, listen, all sub 2. You're tuned into the Southside Pod.
Southside Pod!
Oak Lawn, Midlothian,
Southside Pod.
Oak Forest, Chicago Ridge, Flossmoor, and Bridgeview. You're listening to Southside Pod.
We're at this point now where the spring is going to quickly change the summer. I'm already planning my June stuff.
I have drained the gas out of my snowblower, so I apologize for when it snows.
Yeah, you're done at that point. You know, that was one of those things that as a homeowner when I was younger, I didn't realize I had to drain the gas out of the.
Oh, so your snowblower didn't work the next year?
No,
huh?
it was my lawnmower I screwed up.
Yeah.
I left the gas in there, and the next year it didn't work. And I was like, what the hell? And the guy's like, you left gas in it.
Right.
I'm like,
stupid.
What's the big deal of that? I watched The Walking Dead. They've been driving cars for 10 years since gas stopped being pumped. So
right.
I'm sure it'll last my lawnmower.
That's the Wild Bill tip for you. If you use racing fuel, you don't have to drain it.
Right.
Because it's higher octane.
But otherwise,
you got to drain it.
that's the thing that I always think is funny about.
Here's the other tip. Go at 2 a.m. and just dump it in your alley.
You're bad. You can't do that.
What?
That's wrong. It gets into the water supply. Yeah.
Does it?
Yes, it does.
I have a filter.
There isn't.
The filter filters the gasoline out of my water.
No, it does not filter gasoline out of your water.
My water doesn't come from
Oh my God.
My water goes through major filtration.
You're
plant.
the reason why all of a sudden a Great Lake would catch on fire because guys like you are dumping their gas out.
I didn't say I did.
And it's in the water supply.
I seen my neighbor do it.
Oh, yeah, that's not what you said.
I said, here's a tip. If you want to get rid of it,
No.
go out in the middle of the night
No.
and dump it down the sewer.
You know what I think is funny? There are people that won't use weed spray because it'll give cancer to you because it'll get in the water supply and kill all of us.
Right.
But then there are people that will dump gasoline in the sewer.
Not in the sewer so much as the
in
rocks
the alley,
in the alley.
next to the sewer where it eventually works its way in the sewer.
Right, the sewer's a long way away from the alley. It's just like rocks and stuff in there.
It goes into the groundwater, right?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where it goes. Nobody really knows where it goes.
It goes to a magical place.
Yeah,
where
nobody
the gas
knows.
is filtered. See, the way
Who
you
knows
see
what's
it,
under the
Let me
rocks?
get this straight. The way you see it is, you're an environmentalist. I love this.
I am?
Yeah, I think so. Because you've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
I think you are an environmentalist. You are somebody who believes the environment is so strong that it will filter the gasoline out.
No, there are major plants
God's
downtown
filter.
that filter things.
God's filter is that you just pour gasoline on the ground.
Right, I'm the family where the kids die, but I'm like, God will be okay.
Works its way through the silt, gets its way down to the limestone.
It's a perfect filter.
It's God's filter. It was
I have a fish tank, and you know what they put in my filter?
Right.
Like a
you put those
sponge,
rocks. You put those rocks at the bottom, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what.
So
it's
the way
happening.
you see it is that if the fish poured gas,
if
it would just go down into the rocks.
Fish,
right.
Perfect. What are you supposed to do? Just run it for hours?
You're supposed to run it, or you're supposed to drain it.
And I'm getting exhaust going into the atmosphere,
or drain it back into another gas tank.
Right.
No, the street.
Well, my neighbor does,
but not you.
Oh God, no!
That'd be terrible. That'd be wrong.
No,
Right. How many paint cans do you throw inside of the garbage can a year or two?
You can't do that?
No, you can't do that. You also can't throw out batteries.
What about when I change my oil and I just throw it in there too? If you cut the grass first,
This is why right here. This is why your recycling bin doesn't matter, because this guy is working against you.
Well, apparently you can't put all my grass clippings in my recycling bin and they don't take it. But I found that if you put the grass clippings in first and then dump the oil on top of it kind of soaks in and they don't even know. My neighbor told me.
A pitcher of beer, a pitcher of beer. Let's order another pitcher of beer. That pitcher of beer should come over here. I love that pitcher of beer.
I'm at Horse Thief Hollow in Beverly. I got Neil Byers here. He's fresh off the plane from Portugal. A guy goes on a trip, he comes back, and I can't believe you have time to sit down with little old me and talk on Southside Pod. How are you?
I always got time for you, Chris. You're the man.
All right, so first, before we get into what you're doing next week, which is really cool, and that's why we're sitting here and we're talking, I'm having a hazy pale. I think this is becoming like a thing. I'm seeing a lot of places do this. I'm seeing the mainstream start to get into them. This one's really good, though. What's the name of it? People come over to Horse Thief Hollow here in Beverly, and they want to try it. What do they ask for?
Breakless.
Breakless. It's good. It's a solid one. And maybe you can have this with the food that's going to be in this place. Does it start next week? Is it like a Sunday through Saturday, a Monday through Friday? When does this run? Tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Right. So for those that don't know, we raise our own cattle at the Ag School on 111th and Pulaski. And we do all the butchering ourselves. And then based on how everything looks, we'll reach out to different chefs that we're friends with and start creating specials. So we have Joe Flam coming in. He's going to be doing New York strips. We have Juan Kim, who's going to be doing flank steaks. Juan Kim owns Kimski. We got Corey Fuller, who's going to be doing tenderloins. I'm taking dinosaur ribs, like the beef ribs, doing smoking. Actually, I'm going to be doing the smoking at my house.
You're smoking beef ribs?
Yeah. So
what day is this?
That's going to be Monday.
I'll be here. It's the best stuff.
It's the best stuff. Yeah. So the whole story is we're raising these cows at the Ag School. It's the most local sustainable beef in all of Chicago. So we'll reach out to these different chefs and say, like, what cut do you want to take from the cow? And then we'll create a special around that. My cousin Billy Byers, Billy the Biscuit Byers, as he's known, he's a butcher in Milwaukee. He comes down, he helps me break down these cattle. He's going to be running Saturday special, which is going to be Denver steaks. Sunday, I had Chef Mark. He's going to be doing bone and ribeyes. Monday, I'm doing the beef ribs. Tuesday, we got Joe Flam. Wednesday, we got Juan Kim. Thursday, Corey Fuller. And then Friday, we're going to be doing a burger special with my kitchen manager, Scotty.
So to give a little bit of a background to people, I'm going to kind of break this down for them. So you're getting the beef, and you're going out and you're selecting cows. You're bringing them to the Ag School. They're at the Ag School nearby in Mount Greenwood. And when it comes time for you to now, at this point, they're gonna become delicious food, these cows. You will butcher them, and you'll bring in new cows that come in. And this is the beginning of that. This is like you bring in these cows, you're actually butchering them yourself, and you have another butcher that's with you that you're related to, do all the cuts of meat. You know where this cow has been. You know where all this food has been from the beginning to the end, because it's really been in your control the entire time. So this is like coming from a farm and ending up on your plate. That's what you're kind of describing to me with Horse Thief Hollow. And this meat, it's not just this week. This is what you do all the time. This is just the new, fresh, brand new stuff that comes in. And you're like, we're going to do some specials because we have the new group of cows that we brought in, and we've turned this into, well, like you said, delicious ribs and burgers and steaks and everything else.
Right. So my good buddy John raises cattle in Indiana. And traditionally, he would sell off the 600-pound steers to Evansville, Indiana. They would go out to be pumped up full of corn and everything, and then they go into our beef production that maybe eventually would get into a Walmart or whatever. What we're doing is taking those 600-pound steers, we're bringing them to the Ag School, and the students take care of them. They're fed our spent grains from the brewing process, and then they're raised about 70% on grass and a little bit on corn. And then we do all the butchering ourselves, and then we just celebrate what we created, which is prime, incredible beef. We know where they were born, what they were fed, their entire life cycle is in our hands, how they were treated, and then how they were handled with the knife.
Right. This isn't something mass-produced where somebody gets something from a supplier. You're actually at the source. You're determining what the cattle are eating. You're determining the care. You have the students at the Ag School taking care of them. And then all the way to the end process when it ends up on the plate, everything is controlled by Horse Thief Hollow.
Exactly. And then we just reach out to different chefs that we're friends with and say,
how do you want to handle this particular cut?
You have the entire cow. So like any portion can be turned into a dish. I mean, like, because, people don't understand that. Like, I explain this to my kids all the time. Like, I have a son. He goes, "What's this?" "Cow." And then I'll have something else and be like, "What's this?" "Cow." And he just looks at me. He's 6 years old. He's like, "Cow makes this, cow makes that." I'm like, "Wait till I tell you all the things that pig makes." Like, this is how people get food on their plate. And so you're not letting anything go to waste. I think that's also the other interesting thing. You're sitting there saying, all right, we're going to use every portion of this.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's kind of cool about, like, when my cousin comes down to help me with the butchering, he selected the Denver steak, which most people aren't really familiar with.
I've never heard of it.
I vaguely heard of it. I don't have too much experience with it. But apparently it's the butcher's cut. And it's got all kinds of crazy grain things. So, like, you have to work within the grain to get different steaks out of this. But it kind of eats like a flat iron, but it's tender like a tenderloin, but it's marbled like a ribeye. It's specific, like it's a special cut. So he's going to be doing that special on Saturday, celebrating something that's not so familiar, but now can be, enjoyed by many people.
Yeah, and what I've learned in my life, and we just talked about how you were over in Portugal, different parts of the country, different parts of the world use different parts when they create their cuts. It's really interesting. Like, you can go to California, and it's funny, when I'm back here at home where I grew up, I'll go and ask for certain things, and they'll look at me like I got three heads, because they don't do it that way here. Like, they may cut the meat someplace else. So I think that's really cool that people can experience something here that they wouldn't normally get in any restaurant around here.
Right, and everyone knows a tenderloin, a ribeye, and a strip and everything, but there's a lot of different cuts on these cows that we can pull from and kind of celebrate their uniqueness and create specials around them. And we did a 35-day dry age on these cows, so they got what I consider like the perfect dry age. It's going to be incredibly tender, and the flavor is going to be full and unctuous, and we're just going to around with it. We're just going to around and cook. We're going to cook food. That's what we're doing. We're cooking.
No, we have a bleep button. You can say it. We're cooking food.
We're cooking food. And it was actually funny because obviously you have bones when you're butchering cows, and my chef Mark wanted to do a demi-glace, which is like a 36-hour process of reducing the bone stock into like this really rich sauce. And you should have seen him last night when he started this, and the smells that were coming out of the pot. It was the most incredible beef smell you'd ever. And
you make me hungry.
He was in tears. He honestly was in tears last night. He's like, "This is the best I've ever worked with."
Yeah, because here's the thing: what you're doing is you're giving these chefs, and this is why they're probably doing it. You give them something they don't normally get to work with, which means the people that come here and eat over the next week are getting something they would normally never even experience.
Yeah. And we all buy from Cisco or all these broadline distributors, and you want tenderloin, you get a tenderloin. Not too often do you get to have a quarter of a cow and then actually remove the tenderloin itself and then to see what grade that is. And we're grading them on the spot. And these ones came in as prime. They're the best beef that I've ever seen, actually, except for Wagyu. But the marbling is incredible on these cows. John in Indiana did a great job raising these cows up to 600 pounds. The students did a great job raising them up to 1,200 pounds. My cousin and I butchered them, and then the chefs are going to work with those and honor them for the public.
I love it. All right, here's the deal. It starts, the first one that's coming off is, did you say Friday or Saturday?
The first special is going to be Saturday, and it's going to be running through next Friday.
All right, so you got a whole week. All right, make plans. Get here a couple times. That's what I would do. There's plenty of beer up on the board, and like I said, we got this hazy that you just poured. I know you got a new one that you're working on. You're very excited about that's coming out at some point next week. Quick preview. What kind is it?
All right, so we got a grapefruit pale that we've been working on for a year and a half now. We finally dialed in the grapefruit, the pale, the bitterness, the sweetness, all those kind of components. So that's going to be called Boogie Chillin', and I'm really proud of it. And I think Cork in the Park is going to be serving it pretty soon too, so look out for that.
All right, Horse Thief Hollow, get over here, 10426 South Western Avenue, right here in Beverly on the south side. Neil, I appreciate you sitting down, having a beer with me after your long journey, and now you got a lot of meat you got to cook.
Always, man. Always cooking, brother.
I have a confession to make. It's true, and I'm guessing you have done the same thing. Put more time into thinking about what's for dinner than preparing for your retirement. But if you think your retirement needs deserve more attention, I agree with you, and I want to help you out. I've got a local, experienced, down-to-earth guy who's a friend of this show. He's got a get-to-know-you approach and do the right thing values, and he's been around for over 20 years right here on the south side. His name is Tom Walsh. He's located on the corner of 111th and Kedzie, and he's waiting for your call. In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call someone who's invested in your success. Reach out to Tom now, 773-779-0023, or pop in at the office right on 111th and Kedzie. Tell him we sent you. Edward Jones, Making Sense of Investing, member SIPC. I keep getting invited to events.
What kind of events?
Because of the podcast that I don't want to go to.
Well, don't say that.
Well, no, I like going to things that people invite me to, but when you sit there and say, hey, Chris, we've got something going on Memorial Day weekend or 4th of July weekend, or like sometime where I would just like to go off with the family and sit on a pontoon boat and drink for 3 days, like a red-blooded American would want to.
Sure.
I'm like, oh, well, we'll see about that. But I really don't, you know? Like, I love going to events. I get this podcast out to events. I get the other podcasts out to events. I get breweries every week. I'm all over the place. But every once in a while, I like to disappear. I like to just be gone.
So what events don't you want to go to?
Just anything that's like on a... Like, here's the thing. I always find this funny. This happens all the time. You get somebody who says, we're having a party. Great. We're having it on Memorial Day weekend. I'm not coming.
Right.
Like, I know that you think it's great because it's 3 days and it gives you a chance to clean up. And you're like, oh, we're having a big Memorial Day barbecue. But that's great. But you know what I like? I like a 3-day weekend. That's when I get out of town.
Right.
I don't want to hang with you on a 3-day weekend. I don't want to see anybody on a 3-day weekend.
Sometimes work trumps, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do to gain listeners and ads and revenue and
no, I don't care about any of it. No. On the 3-day weekend, don't bother me. You know? Now the one thing I'm gonna do is you're going to love this.
Oh, no.
When
you say that, it means I'm going to hate it.
You're going to hate it. I am the official MC.
Oh, no. Master of ceremonies.
Yeah, the Evergreen Park 4th of July parade.
Really? What does that mean? You got to sit in the stands?
I sit
Oh, come on. How come I'm not with you? I would be such a good color commentary on that. You want to come with and do it?
You
is it on 4th of July?
It's on the Friday.
Is it like recorded?
No.
Or are you talking on a microphone for the people?
I get a live microphone for the entire crowd and get to announce the floats.
That's dangerous.
I know. John Brand from Open Outcry is going to be in the parade. I told him, I'm like, bring some beer over. Come join us.
Yeah.
We'll do the whole thing. And we'll
no one wants to hear us
beer.
talk on a microphone, like out in the crowd.
Why not?
I don't know.
They're listening to us right now.
But they'll want to watch the parade.
Well, no, you listen to, all I'm going to do,
and now here's,
I'm not going to make jokes.
Well, that's what I want to do.
Well, then that's what you're there for. You say something horrible. See, you know why you don't want to do it is because it's live. And you're going to say something terrible.
Exactly.
And I can't edit it
live
out.
has nothing to do with it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's just...
You're going to say something terrible.
No, I'm just going to roast, and people don't know how to handle that sometimes. The parades are not for that.
You're going to make fun of the floats?
I kind of want to just
You're going to make fun of like a kid's float that goes by?
Oh, sure.
Look at this crap.
Wow,
looks like they worked on it for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Put a little bit more effort in there next time, kids.
Better, I'd be sitting there like kind of like next to you, behind you, doing the podcast.
Right.
And I'll be like almost like Mystery Science Theater 3000 where I'm like live tweeting or live, the actual of you doing
it. Look at this girl here, Miss Evergreen Park. Where'd they find this one? Whose daughter is she? How do you win a pageant with that face? Like, that's you. That's not going to work. You can't do it.
No.
Can't do it.
I would never say things like that. That's awful.
There isn't a Miss Evergreen Park. That's why I can make that. No, there isn't.
Why don't we make one?
You want to have one?
Sponsored by the EP Podcast.
Well, no, maybe
You're going to have a pageant.
Maybe we should just do a Miss Southside Pod.
Now we're talking.
Now think about this. Remember, like, what wasn't it? 97.9 used to do this. They used to have a loop girl.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to have a Miss Southside Pod.
Live from the Alsip pool. At the Jewel pool.
Well, we got to get a total, like we do. We have to get a Southside chick. It can't be like your stereotypical model. It's got to be a Southside chick.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a girl that comes on and it's hard to understand what she says. That's what I want.
I don't know if it goes that much.
That's what I want.
Because she drank too much or just normal?
No, because that's the way she talks. like she lives in the back of Chicago Ridge where there aren't even like street signs up near the water tower. Like that girl.
Her address just says behind the mall.
Right.
And the post office knows where to give her mail.
Like that girl, right? You know?
Behind the mall next to the water tower.
Exactly.
So how do these girls who think they're the most South Side contact us to prove that
nobody's going to contact us and do this? We've offended everybody.
What if we get one?
Everybody's done. If we have one, go to southsidepod.com. Okay.
Can we secure her spot in the parade?
Nominate yourself.
In the Evergreen Park Parade.
If I get a Miss Southside Pod, if I can't get her in the EP parade, I'll get her in a parade before the year's over. I will make a float. I will pay the fee. And I will put Miss Southside Pod in a parade.
All right.
It might be the St. Patrick's Day parade next March, but within the year of her reign, she will be in a parade.
I like it.
Okay. I will put Miss Southside Pod.
It's like the Loop Girl.
Right.
But our Loop Girl.
No. But the Southside. I want a Southside chick.
Right.
I want a ride or die. Will fight you in a heartbeat, Southside girl. Okay. I want that girl that, like, she's a school teacher by day and she's threatening to hit somebody with a bottle by 6 PM on a Friday at the American Legion.
Yeah,
like, that's the girl I want.
Right. She, like, you should be able to, when you Google search her, like, one of the pictures is a mugshot.
Like, when she puts makeup on, she looks like a completely different person than when she has no makeup on.
Right.
Like, she's like two different girls.
Sure.
Like a wrestler, like a pro wrestler, like with their gear, without their gear. Like, that's what I'm looking for.
All right.
Okay, that's my Miss Southside Pod.
Okay.
Go to southsidepod.com, nominate yourself. You could, if you actually call up, that would be best. You can leave a voice message. Otherwise, just send us a message. Nobody's going to do this.
Miss Southside Pod.
Or Mrs. Southside Pod.
That's probably better.
It's probably more, 45-year-old woman. Okay.
Yeah.
4 kids.
Right.
Right. And she still wears
doing a little time in county.
Still wears the same leather jacket from 1994 that she stole from her boyfriend. Right. Like, that would be good too.
Her claim to fame is like she once like was backstage at the Motley Crue concert and she may or may not have done something with Nikki Sixx.
And by done something was like she was like, "Hey, Nikki," and he nodded at her.
Right.
Yeah.
Or
right now there's a guy who's like, my sister would be perfect for this.
I'd like to nominate my wife. Linda!
Like, we have at least 4 or 5 guys listening to this podcast right now. Like,
we're gonna be in a parade.
Oh yeah, if you can get her to be Miss Southside Pod, you get to be in the parade too.
And your kids.
And your kids. And her other kids.
And her other kids from the other guy. And Nikki Sixx's kids. Something in the way you love me won't let me be. I don't want to be your prisoner, so won't you set me free? Stop playing with my heart, then it's what you start when you make my love come down. You want me, let you know, baby, let me show. Honey, don't you fool around.
Borderline. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind. Just keep on pushing my love over the borderline. Borderline. Feels like I'm going to lose my mind. And just keep on pushing my love over the borderline. Borderline. Quitting smoking is hard, and not everyone is going to find success with the same product. Luckily, for those of you on the south side, there's Cool Clouds Vapor Shop. Since 2014, Cool Clouds Vapor Shop has been offering a variety of electronic cigarettes and e-liquids, helping adult smokers find the right fit when looking for an alternative. And there's nothing like walking in there and finding a large range of devices you can use. They even have a tester bar with over 150 incredible flavors to choose from. Reed, Bridget, and their staff provide a welcoming environment where smokers can come and have an honest conversation about their smoking habits and their goals. And now Cool Clouds offers a range of CBD products that can help with pain, inflammation, anxiety, sleep in Evergreen Park at 3837 West 95th Street. Adult smokers, visit Cool Clouds Vapor Shop today, providing quality products at reasonable prices and the best customer experience possible. My daughter has a friend who's a boy who she claims is just a friend.
Does this friend have quotes around it when you say friend?
Well, here's the thing. If you were a boy...
Bismarcky wrote a whole song about
right,
this.
Right, exactly. Okay, well, all right, how about this? You're 16 years old, let's say.
Okay.
Right?
Let's say
you're
16 years old.
All right.
Let's say it.
And
you want to say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, ready? No, let's.
Oh, let's say it together?
Yeah.
All right.
You're 16 years old.
So you have a license. You can drive anywhere you want to.
Yeah.
You can hang out with anybody you want to hang out with, right? Right.
Yeah.
But you don't own the car, so you got to get your parents' permission,
okay.
right? Okay. So that's going to be a struggle every time you go out. And yet somehow you're always able to get this car and you'll drive a half hour away from your house.
Wow.
To go sit at, let's say, a festival where the girl's father's working at. And then you'll just sit there and hang with her for 4 hours.
This guy really likes her.
That's what I think. Because who puts in that kind of time, right? He didn't.
Unless he likes her good friend.
I don't know. He gets nervous when he talks to me. He looks off in every direction except for me.
I get nervous when I talk to you.
You do?
No.
Okay, good. But I mean, the thing is, I actually said something like he doesn't really look people in the eye, and even my wife was like, he looks right at me. I'm like, he has such a hard time looking at me.
Male thing.
I think he's nervous. And I think when you get nervous with the dad, and you're driving out to go see the daughter, I think that you're interested. I don't know. I'm not rooting for it. I hope he's just a friend, but I feel like this is the beginning of like the
interested in her or something or someone that she knows.
Already close with the other girl.
Oh.
Just met mine.
Oh.
I saw this thing where like they walked down a hallway away from me. And he did the thing with the arm where he thought about putting it around her and then he pulled it back. Like I saw that.
Okay.
She didn't. I saw that.
Sure.
Right. So like I'm watching this now. I hope that I'm.
You
wrong.
like this kid?
He seems like a nice kid.
Yeah.
I'm just not ready for my daughter to date yet.
No.
You know,
she's 16.
I don't think anybody's ready for that stuff.
No.
Would you be ready for it? You got little girls.
I'm not ready for it, but I know at 16, like
I know it's coming.
right.
Right. Like I got to get used to it. I mean, I like the fact that she's basically like she's not. It's not like she's chasing him.
Right.
Right. So I like the fact that he's trying to pursue and he's awkward in his pursuit. So that's a good thing for me. I'll take. If you could have asked me 5, 6, 7 years ago when she was little, the first time a boy and there's like something happening, like interest in either way.
Right.
She's not the aggressor and he's awkward and nervous and it's not until 16. I would have said, who do I have to pay to get to that?
Right.
I would have taken that right away, right? Wouldn't you take that?
Yeah.
Right? Because this could go so many different other ways.
Oh my
with your
God,
daughter,
yeah.
Right?
I was 16 once.
Yeah. Remember what you were like at 16 years old? I wouldn't want me around a girl.
No.
I don't want somebody like me around my daughter.
No.
Yeah, I want somebody like that kid around my daughter.
Right.
That kid's fine.
I was gonna say I don't want someone like me around my daughter. Like I would want someone like how probably you were. like the saxophone.
I'd be
player.
okay.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to see what's happening on the Southside Pod. On the Southside Pod. Join us again and be sure to tell a friend about the Southside Pod. About the Southside Pod. All things about the neighborhood we live in. All things about the places that we go. It's the best side of Chicago, the South Side Pod. Anyway, I think this kid's, you're going to see movement. This kid's going to make it. I'm just saying, he's making his move.
I think that's what's going to
Slowly.
happen. I think it's a slow play. This is a slow play. Is what this is.
Right.
I think it's a slow play.
He's checking it.
I'm watching it.
But you better watch when the river comes. He's going to just go all in.
Well, that's the whole thing. He's hitting check all the way around the table.
He's checking this whole
and
thing.
He's going through the whole hand.
Total slow
and then he's
play.
going to push all of his chips in, and
Right.
that's where I got to be there.
That you have to
I
be
gotta
there to
be
call
standing.
him.
When
You
the
got to
chips
call
come
him.
in,
You got to call
You
him.
got to hit him with the butt
Right.
of a rifle
You
or
gotta-
something like that.
What are you doing?
So him push his chips in. Slap the cuffs on me. You would have done the same thing.